Well, there's a variety of issues when you talk about the codes and standards. First of all, every jurisdiction adopts codes through the process, and then their fire marshal's office or their inspectional services carry out the activities to ensure that those buildings are meeting the current code that's in effect in that community. It's up to the owners of the property to ensure the building is up to that code, and that the jurisdiction does the inspectional services to make sure that the codes and standards are met. The fire service, and especially the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, has been pushing for the updating of codes and standards and the adoption of the most recent ones. But it takes time to go through that political process. We understand that. The inspectional services are one piece, but the other element is, there are opportunities to put residential sprinklers into these buildings. There's funding through legislative pieces. There have been acts put in place by Congress, and it's getting the communities to adopt those regulations and to make those steps to make those buildings and facilities safer for everybody. Each jurisdiction has the ability to require that. That's part of the building code, and it depends upon what adoption they have of it, what year they've adopted. But there is a push. There is a retrofit component to retrofit buildings that don't have it. And we understand that there is funding through some of the federal legislation, such as Build Back Better. Yeah, there's a component in there, and I think it's $54 billion with a B dollars in that plan to deal with housing issues, and sprinklers are a part of that. There is efforts across the country to try to retrofit. There's been a lot with businesses. As a matter of fact, there's a tax break incentive legislation that has passed that allows owners of property to write the cost of the sprinkler system off in an expedited fashion. One of the biggest pieces we've learned in the fire service is closing the door. And that's an issue that sometimes especially with the children's room, parents getting their children to sleep with the door closed as opposed to being monitored. But there are devices out there to help ensure that the spread of the fire is reduced, but also you have the issue of the spread of the toxic fumes. And that's a piece that probably will show that a lot of these people died from smoke inhalation. The truth of the matter is, when you're in a multifamily dwelling, I said this statement earlier, you're really dependent upon how your neighbor lives and how your neighbors take care of their home and their cooking habits or their heating habits or whatever it might be. So you're really at their mercy, and you need to take alarm going off seriously.